Moving on now to The Punch. Russian flag, FG probes 4 northern political bigwigs. Naira crude sale yet to happen, says operators. 4 suspected cultists nabbed for killing Ogun Baba. Import duty waiver on rice, others begins next week, says federal government. Varsities mobilizing unqualified graduates for NYSC and JAM. CBN okays Unity Providers merger, SEC review next. And reps fail to effect the 50% pay cut. Okay, which story?
Okay, so the guidelines for the suspension of customs duty and taxes on imported food items are to commence next week. The federal government announced on Tuesday. In July, the federal government approved a 150-day duty-free window for the importation to allow the importation of maize, husk, brown rice, and wheat as part of measures to combat rising food inflation across the country. The initiative was based on the implementation of the Presidential Accelerated and Stabilization Advancement Plan. Speaking at the meeting of heads of security agencies in Abuja on Tuesday, the Comptroller General of Customs, Mr. Bashir, said implementation of the policy will commence once the guidelines are ready. That the delay of the implementation has been due to the interest of all stakeholders, including farmers, which has to be considered because most of the items that the importation are being waived on, we produce them in Nigeria. So they have to create a balance between the farmers presently and people bringing in the goods. But he also urged Nigerians to be a little bit patient, believing that some of these items that are already in our borders that have not been cleared will be cleared without the imposition of the customs duty and taxes. So they should not worry that they have everything in mind. And he also hoped that the suspension of duty and tax on imported food items over time would help with the food crisis. As regards the protests going on now, that one of the problems is hunger. So they are doing everything within their power, the Tinubu administration,
you know what I was saying about having a daily press briefing? I was saying it was as if, what I'm saying that every single day we see somebody who is giving us bullet points of what's been done today, per day. It's not too much. Overdose of information is better than nothing. Yes.
So
that's right. Have JAM. JAM has accused some tertiary institutions of aiding candidates with irregular or illegal admissions to falsify records towards mobilization for the NYSC. I remember, I think a few days ago or last week, I had taken a story where, the JAM had called out some institutions that were making admissions outside CAPS. CAPS is supposed to be the central admission processing unit, and some universities have found a way to admit students outside that process. JAM has given them an ultimatum, and says that they should disclose if they are part of it, and, all the rectifications will be done. But if you found that you've been doing this beyond 2020, you will face the sanctions. But they've also realized, and right now, I think 88 institutions have been marked for this particular problem. Yes, and now there's also saying that in order to meet NYSC requirements, some universities are colluding with their students to falsify information. Either they are backdating the time that they were admitted, their age, and things like that. And JAM is saying this is, this is stupid and this is crazy. So they're calling out institutions again, telling them to desist from it or you face the sanctions. And if you know you've done that as a student, better borrow yourself some brain and just put the right information to... to get
you have to allow the system to work. You can't keep manipulating it. It's going to set us back years. I mean, I don't understand it.
And the institution that's doing that is the one that's supposed to
educate. Okay, so the members of the House of Representatives they've not yet implemented the salary slash that they had promised they would do back on July 18th. The federal lawmakers had made that resolution, and it was expected that it would reflect in their July salaries. Unfortunately, it did not. And they apologized, saying that the reason why it didn't reflect is because of all the bureaucracy, all the various processes and levels that it takes to get these things done. It said that the 50% reduction in the salaries of the ministers should have been implemented from August all the way to December, from July to December, actually. So we acknowledge and regret that this resolution was not implemented by the bureaucracy as intended. However, lawmakers had made the promise that they would deliberately ensure that it is put on in the next salary round. So hopefully that will happen. So they promised to slash their salaries 50%. That's from 600,000 naira to 300,000 naira. They expect that will contribute about, 108 million or so to the coffers of the federal government?
We're always quick to celebrate before action. Crude local manufacturers. The announcements come very, very fast. So when the announcements come, there should also be quick implementation as well. These people too a set of people are complaining about lack of implementation. They said the Naira crude sale hasn't yet happened. Coming from the Crude Oil Refiners Association of Nigeria, this publicity secretary, Eche Idoku, said that the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Authority is yet to kickstart the process. This is 1 week after the FEC meeting. The president had already approved it. Announcement has been made, but they haven't gotten any information from NNPC or, in this case, the NMDPRA on when the process will kickstart. They are expecting that a week after, they should have gotten a letter at least, because they have pending requests that they've sent to the NNPC requesting for the Naira crude oil to be approved, because that's what the policy said. But now they haven't gotten it. So they are saying they would like a meeting with the NNPC so that they can discuss how to best implement this. Also, they advise the government that this shouldn't just, so that it's not just a suggestion, it should be signed into law, either an executive order or it should be incorporated into a new guideline for crude oil producers, so that the process, this statement that was released as a good idea, will be followed through even after this administration. And I think that's a very good one. So, great idea. Implementation needs to be fast as well.
Daily Sun. FG identifies protest sponsors abroad. Military fumes over regime change call. Finance Minister explains federal government strategy for economic growth and welfare. Fear grips Rivers residents as protesters threaten mayhem on transporters and traders. Infrastructure development. Umahi commends Southeast governors for collaboration with federal government. FG tax NBTE, NERDC on development of skills curriculum. And tension in Benue PDP heightens as ex-governor Otom state chairman battles suspension saga. Okay,
I like this story I took, and I hope it will be implemented soon. So the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, has charged National Board for Technical Education, MBTE, and the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council to develop skills curriculum for adoption and implementation. He says that agencies need to come up with skills, that these agencies need to come up with skills curriculum for all levels of education and made ready before the commencement of the next academic session that starts in September. He was also addressing the crisis that befell us during the protests. He says, a lot of the looting had to do with young Nigerians without skill. He said that there are some children who are unable to read and write. We have a lot of children who, after primary and secondary school education, only 35 of them transit to tertiary education. We have about 65% of young men and women who are not in school, employment, and do not have any form of training. This is the result this is what he believes, has caused transited into the looting that happened a few days ago. And he's saying that it's important to have skills curriculum in our primary schools, public and private, actually all levels of education, so that even if you don't have if you're not academically sound, you can also do skills. And he wants this to start immediately by September. I remember when the Minister for, was it Women Affairs? Was it her that had first talked about this skills acquisition for children? We jumped at her. We nearly tore her apart. How dare she say that our children need to learn skills? Now, we'll see if we hear better.
Okay, another story, son?
Yes, so I'm taking the story about the fact that the president has appointed a new CEO for the National Social Investment Program Agency. The spokesperson, the names were released by Ajuri Ngilali, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publication. There are 7 of them that are going to be heading specific agencies that are crucial to in the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management, and Social Development. These people, among them is Dr. Badamasi Lawal, is the new CEO of the National Social Investment Program Agency. Also, the Mrs. Olufumilola Olotu, she's the Program Manager for National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office. The appointment is to ensure that all these agencies that are going to facilitate the ability to bring quick relief to Nigerians and ensure the effectiveness of humanitarian and social development programs carry out. We have a lot of these agencies that, if they don't have someone in charge or the person in charge tenure has expired, and those agencies might speed up the process of getting development to people.
Okay, so I have the Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, has commended the synergy between the government of the states of the Southeast and the federal government. He said that such collaboration has resulted in the wave of infrastructural development witnessed in the parts of Southeast under President Tinubu. He said this during the inspection of the ongoing reconstruction of the collapsed bridge at New Artisan Market. He also commended the governor for projects that they've been doing right now, which is not limited to the 23-span twin flyover bridge at Eke Ubinagu Junction, MNA, in Enugu State, and also the 107-kilometer also the 107-kilometer section of Enugu-Onitsha Expressway, which is being handled by RCC Limited. He also thanked the governor, Mba, for the 24-kilometer of Enugu axis of the road, Enugu, Abakaliki, and Ogoja Trans-Saharan Highway, which is being done now. And he also is telling other governors of other states that you can use the state money to do projects and get it back, a refund from the federal government through the MTN tax credit scheme.
Okay. Our final paper, Vanguard, let me just take one story there. 6 Spaniards, real sponsors of rioters arrested, says police. And then we're ready to pay 70,000 minimum wage, says Nasarawa and Ondo's governors. Who has that Spaniards? That's somebody had that.
Yeah, no. I have the Olympics.
Okay, let's move on to the Tribune then.
But we should commend the ladies Nigerian ladies the 3 ladies in the finals for the Olympics.
Oh, yes.
Actually, that's the reason.
You have that, so I have
Yeah. So this is the first time that we're having 3 people within the same segments getting to the finals in Nigeria. The 3 ladies, kudos to them. Yeah.
All right,
Tigress also
unfortunately,
took
we
us
have
to
to wrap up
quarterfinals,
on paper review.